San Francisco's new district attorney has been on a firing spree after her predecessor was recalled.
The new district attorney in San Francisco has fired at least 15 employees. Brooke Jenkins, the San Francisco DA, said in a statement last week that she made difficult but important changes to her management team and staff. She cited her promise to the public of restoring accountability and consequences to criminal justice. Among those who were fired was former San Francisco managing attorney Arcelia Hurtado, who headed the city's Innocence Commission. Hurtado expressed her disappointment on Twitter, writing, "After over 2 years of tireless and devoted service to the city and county of San Francisco, I was unceremoniously fired without cause via phone by the mayor's appointed DA." She included her ethnicity and sexual orientation in the tweet. Brooks' predecessor, Chesa Boudin, was recalled on June 7th amid criticism of a citywide surge in crime, homelessness, and drug usage in public. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
The turnout of this year's California primary election was roughly 33% as of June 27th, the lowest it has been in 8 years. One expert explains what is keeping Californians from voting and what the result of this election cycle means.
Craig Kashishian, a political and polling expert, told California Insider's Siamak Korami that midterm and non-presidential elections generally have a lower voter turnout than general presidential elections.
2 exceptions. 2008, in the presidential election cycle when Barack Obama was running, very high turnout, 60+%. Also, 2016 showed a high turnout, and ironically, the last election had a nice turnout because of COVID restrictions that allowed people to vote by mail with frequency.
For those who think that their vote doesn't matter and think that one party, in this case the Democratic Party, will dominate anyway, Kashishian believes that's false. He says voting on a local level makes a difference.
In local elections, congressional elections, Republicans can make a difference, and they do make a difference. So what we've seen here, for example, in the last cycle, 2 Republican congresspeople from Orange County won back their districts from Democrats by eager participation in a presidential year, which is actually very odd and a very difficult stunt to pull off. But Michelle Steele did it. She clawed back a seat for the Republicans in her district, and Young Kim did it in her district.
Kashishian also pointed out that voter motivation comes from the party that has been doing well, leading people to vote more confidently for their party.
The Democrats are exceptionally motivated when Barack Obama was running for president. They were exceptionally motivated in 2018 when they saw the chance to take back Congress. Their turnout was high. Republicans, on the other hand, were depressed. Now, in 2022, Republicans see a chance to take back the House, so a lot of Republican voters are motivated to come out and support the ticket.
The principle applies to smaller local offices too.
As they vote for their congressperson, let's say in San Clemente or in Newport Beach or in Irvine, as they're voting, they'll just tick off the boxes of other offices in their district, whether it be for school board or city council. So a rising political tide basically lifts all boats, especially in with the party that has the chance to recapture power.
In terms of voting for individual self-interest and well-being, Kashishian says people will vote for whoever fulfills those needs, regardless of party affiliation.
I think people are now very conscious of their own safety. They're very conscious about being compromised in their own homes. They're very conscious of their kids being victimized by criminals. So I think the motivation now to vote is stronger than ever before. I think you'll be seeing a very robust turnout in the fall.
Kashishian says voters do not need to feel too discouraged if the person they voted for does not meet their expectations. American voters do not expect their politicians to deliver 100%, but they should meet most of their expectations.
To watch the full program, find California Insider on YouTube or Epic TV on the Epic Times website. On Monday evening, Candlelight lit up a consulate in Los Angeles, but it wasn't to honor a country. It was to remember those who have fallen to its ruling party. NTD's Jackie Rios was there to hear from victims of persecution, who are also believers of a peaceful meditation practice known as Falun Gong.
Falun Gong practitioners from Southern California are holding a candlelight vigil near the Chinese consulate in Los Angeles. It's to commemorate the deaths of their fellow practitioners who have passed away since the persecution began on July 20th, 1999. Falun Gong is a spiritual practice that was introduced to the public in China in 1992. In less than 10 years, it was estimated to have 100 million followers. Its incredible popularity was one of the main reasons the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, began attacking the practice.
I think the communist regime is really a totalitarian regime. This such an evil regime cannot tolerate any groups for independent of its control. Just because there's so many people practicing Falun Gong, so the communist regime feel that they didn't have the control, so they start the persecution. So that's just the nature of such a evil totalitarian regime.
Wu said holding the candlelight vigil is to remember their fellow practitioners who have lost their lives from the CCP's persecution.
So this persecution is really very, very evil and very brutal. So I want you to be aware of this persecution, to know that even after 23 years, the persecution is still going on. It causes a lot of hardship and disasters, for those people. So therefore, I hope that you can join us to stop the persecution by telling the persecutions to other people, and also maybe if you can try to contact your congressmen and other government officials to urge them to act to help us to stop the persecution.
Falun Gong practitioners at the vigil said they hope by raising awareness about these human rights violations, more countries will stand up against the CCP's atrocities. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Truck drivers hindered traffic at the Oakland Seaport on Monday. They gathered to protest a California law that makes it harder for independent contractors to transport goods. The rule could limit labor at the state's already clogged seaports, threatening to worsen the nation's supply chain woes. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
The trucking disruptions come as unions and West Coast port employers are negotiating a labor contract. The law is known as AB5, or the gig worker law, and sets tougher standards for classifying workers as independent contractors.
I'm worried because it's make you more responsible for everything that's going on with your truck and the cargo you're hauling. Now they want to make you responsible for everything, the equipment and all the containers we pull out from the port.
Independent truckers now operate under the authority and insurance of companies that hire them. Under the law, they would have to take on the hefty costs and red tape themselves.
That will increase our costs and, not just costs, and it takes a lot of hassle. We need to hire people to, help us do all the paperwork.
Legal challenges kept the law from going into effect in 2020. But the Supreme Court last month denied a California Trucking Association petition, claiming the law is blocked by federal regulations. An injunction that put the law on hold could be lifted soon.
Not just easy to go into the terminal. You have to go in there and pick up the load. You have to set up the appointment. You have to set up all the pickups, all the returns. What if you run into a trouble in going in to return your container?
As part of the Monday protest, more than 100 drivers and small trucking company operators opposed to the law swarmed 2 terminal gates in the Port of Oakland. And last week, port truckers in Los Angeles picketed gates and snarled roadways at the nation's busiest seaport complex. About 40% of U.S. imports and 25% of exports run through the Los Angeles and Long Beach ports. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
A Nascar driver and 3-time USAC champion was fatally stabbed over the weekend. The suspect, identified as a homeless transient, was later shot dead by police.
37-year-old NASCAR driver Bobby East was fatally stabbed at a Westminster gas station in Orange County last Friday night. Responding officers found East suffering from a serious stab wound in the chest and performed life-saving measures. He was transported to a local trauma center where he died from his injury. Officers identified the suspect as Trent William Millsap, a 27-year-old homeless transient who was wanted on parole violation. Commander Kevin McCormick said that Millsap was identified at an Anaheim apartment where he was later killed by police after he became confrontational. According to Westminster Police, during the service of the warrant, the West County SWAT team encountered Millsap. He became confrontational with officers and a police canine unit was deployed. Subsequently, an officer-involved shooting occurred. Millsap was pronounced dead at a local medical center. East was a native of Torrance and raced on the NASCAR, U.S. Auto Club, and Automobile Racing Club of America circuits. NASCAR released a statement saying NASCAR is saddened to learn of the tragic death of Bobby East. We extend our deepest and heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of Bobby, a true racer. Police are asking anyone with information regarding the stabbing to call them at 714-548-3212. Daniel Hall, NTD News, California.
With so many tech companies in Silicon Valley, they're naturally going to show off what they have got to offer. And that's exactly what they did this year for the City of Mountain View's annual tech showcasing event. NTD's David Lamb went to see what was on display.
We're in the city of Mountain View, and this is the 7th annual technology showcase. And locals and families got together to get a sneak peek at the new technology from Silicon Valley. On Tuesday, the City of Mountain View and its Chamber of Commerce featured a family-friendly technology fair. Guests interacted with products such as autonomous vehicles, a NASA satellite, 3D printing, and a robot that can shoot hoops.
As many people know, Mountain View is a center of innovation. We have a number of companies that are world-renowned, like Google and LinkedIn and Intuit and so on, but we also have hundreds of small startups.
There's about 20 exhibitors, and Katz says he expected about 500 guests to stop by.
And this is an opportunity for both our large companies and our small companies to showcase what they're doing and to really have a better connection with our local community.
There are a lot of companies that people don't know about. The city wants to promote innovation and connect businesses with the Mountain View community, all in its backyard.
As we've seen a change in the economy, we noticed this back in the dot-com bust. A lot of people start to transition and want to be entrepreneurs.
And some young entrepreneurs at a local high school put together a ball-shooting robot. It took 6 weeks to put together for a world competition.
Like everything you see there, most of that is made during that 6-week period.
They earned top 10 out of 3,000 teams in the world for their creation. It can scoop up rubber balls and launch them into the air, either by code or human operation.
I love the entrepreneurship outreach aspect of the team, what an impact you can make on other people, especially as a returning team.
It sort of brings you into the professional world before you can get into it.
Mountain View is home to some of the most well-known tech giants, as well as a NASA facility.
And this is 1-to-1 scale, so this is the actual size of the spacecraft. And just like computers are getting smaller and faster, the same thing's happening with satellites these days.
The engineer says they're pushing the boundaries of how small and powerful satellites can get. The city representatives hope they can support the hundreds of small businesses, startups, and entrepreneurs seeking to innovate. David Lamb, NTD News, California.